The forbidden snail. Wando and her younger brother Chima often ventured into the nearby bush to gather snails, which they would later cook into a delicious stew. It was a warm afternoon, and the siblings had wandered deep into the forest, their baskets already brimming with large shiny snails. As they scoured through the underbrush, Chima's eyes caught sight of an enormous snail unlike any they had ever seen before. Its shell shimmered in an odd, almost magical way, and it seemed to glow faintly in the shade of the trees. Excited by its size, Chima sprinted towards it, his heart racing. He imagined how proud he would be when they presented the biggest snail anyone had ever seen to their family. But Wando, gifted with spiritual intuition passed down from their ancestors, felt something was wrong. Her instincts, finely tuned to the mystical elements of nature, screamed at her to stop her brother. "Chima, no!" she called, her voice laced with urgency. "Don't touch that snail. It's not ordinary." Chima paused, looking at her quizzically. "What do you mean?" "It's huge. This will make the best stew." But Wando was firm. "There is something special about it. Please leave it." Chima, blinded by the prospect of a feast, ignored her warning and reached for the snail, plucking it from the ground. Its shell felt heavier than he had anticipated, as if it carried more than just the creature within. On their way home, something extraordinary happened. The snail began to speak. Its voice was soft, pleading. "Please, don't cook me. I am not meant to be eaten. Please, let me go. Let me go." Wando's eyes widened in horror. She begged Chima again, her tone more desperate. "Chima, listen to the snail. It's not just a snail. Let it go. Let it go." But Chima, entranced by the snail's impressive size, refused to listen. "It's just a trick, Wando. We are going to eat well tonight. Look how big it is." The snail persisted. "Please, let me go. Please, let me go. If you agree to bring me back to the bush where I belong, I will grant you any wish you desire." This offer caught Chima's attention. He paused, considering the strange proposition. His eyes gleamed with greed, and he made his first wish. "I wish for more snails, so many that will never run out." In a blink, snails of all shapes and sizes appeared around him, more than he had ever seen in his life. Wando gasped in amazement, but she still sensed something was wrong. They picked the snails as much as they could, and when they got home, their mother was shocked at the sight of the enormous quantity of harvest they made. Wando was thrilled and amazed, yet explained to their mother what happened at the bush. Their mother immediately asked Chima to return the snail to the bush. Chima, encouraged by his success, made another wish immediately. "I wish for all the firewood we need to cook gathered in one place." Instantly, stacks of firewood appeared before them, perfectly chopped and ready. Chima laughed in delight, his greed growing. I wish for a modern and well-furnished building. Immediately it appeared. Again, I wish for all the food we could ever want. Rice, yam, fruits, vegetables, and so on be provided. At once, the magical snail granted all his wishes. And just like that, baskets of food materialized around them. In no time, Chima's house was transformed, filled with beautiful furnishings, far beyond anything they had ever dreamed of owning. Their mother was thrilled and shocked, yet accepted the transformation that took place. The magical snail granted every wish, and Chima was intoxicated with power. The snail continued to plead for his release back to the bush. Please return me to the bush where I belong. At this point, their mother seriously warned Chima and asked him to send back the snail, but he bluntly refused. Despite their mother's persistent warnings, Chima made wish after wish, growing more and more arrogant. He had everything he could ever want, and soon enough, he became overconfident. One evening, as Chima stared at the magical snail, he had a dark thought. I've gotten everything from the snail, he muttered. I don't need it anymore. I'll cook it and enjoy the finest meal. Wando, horrified, begged him one last time. Chima, don't. You don't understand what you are doing. This is no ordinary snail. You'll regret it. But Chima's greed was beyond reason. He killed the snail and prepared to cook it, ignoring the small voice in his head that told him something terrible was about to happen. As he took his first bite, everything around him began to disappear. The wood, the food, the furnishings, everything he had wished for vanished into the thin air. Chima looked around in shock, but before he could fully comprehend what was happening, the bite he took got stuck in his throat. Chima gasped for breath, clutching his neck as he realized too late the magnitude of his mistake. The forbidden snail has cursed him. His throat was blocked, and his mouth was stuck wide open. No matter how hard he tried, he could neither swallow nor breathe properly. Wando watched in sorrow as her brother, overcome with greed, paid the ultimate price for his foolishness. Everything was gone, and Chima was left with nothing but the weight of his mistake. It dawned on him too late. He had eaten the forbidden snail, the one that was never meant to be consumed. Their mother now grieved over the death of her only son. The tale of Wando and Chima became a cautionary story in their village, a reminder of dangers of greed and the consequences of ignoring wisdom and advice.